Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Life Health Show. It is Thanksgiving Day here, and so interesting when I go to the store and I observe people around Thanksgiving time. If you want to see people that are addicted to food and people that get so excited about food and overeating, just think about Thanksgiving. People are going crazy over food in the supermarkets, and it's like their excuse to feed their addiction today. And that's what it is. It's not a Thanksgiving day. It's an overeating day. And people overeat every day, but Thanksgiving more than ever before. It's not just how much they're eating, but also what they're eating. You know, I've been doing a lot of research to try to figure out what the best diet is. And I've been interviewing a lot of experts to see what they're suggesting the best diet. And no one can agree on the best diet or the best way of eating. I don't even want to call it a diet, because a diet is when you're doing something to lose weight. But it's the best way of eating for overall health, for prevention of disease, and things like this. And a lot of the experts will have similarities, but they have some major differences. And I think it doesn't have to be an individual thing, because our bodies were all built the same way, but because of the wear and tear we put on our bodies over the years and the predisposed disease that many of us are dealing with already, there might be some different things that might be better for one person or other. But overall, what is the best diet? Well, the reason why so many people think their diet is the best or their way of eating is the best, because either them or somebody they know has had results doing that. And it's quite interesting, the idea of results, because results will be produced and disease will go away when you stop, when you start eliminating the cause of disease and stop eating the things that are producing that disease. So one of the things that all of these diets have in common is they're all leaving something out. They're all leaving, whether it's processed food, whether it's some other junk food, something that contributes to inflammation and disease and poor health. When they go on one of these diets and they get disciplined for it, they leave something out. So they're going to be doing better than what they were doing. Well, what ideally is the best thing to do? The best way to do it? And this isn't an answer we can answer and say, well, I found the answer and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. No, I think it's something we need to figure out and come to a conclusion and then test it out on yourself and experiment with it. And if something better comes along, try it. So I've been eating a raw vegan diet over the years. It's been 30 years now or so, and raw vegan. And I continue to look for the best diet and so on. It's just when I'm thinking eating the best diet, I'll change something out and experiment with something else and find out either something good or something bad. Because even within a diet, whether it's raw vegan, vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, whatever, there's different versions of that way of eating and different ideas of how to do it. So I'm trying to have as many guests as online as possible to help you figure these things out. But what I do right now is tell you that where I currently am at. You know, I've been eating a diet pretty much over the years of, high everything, high fruit, high fat, high oils, high everything. But after coming to conclusions and doing different things and where I'm currently at and what I think is the best diet for me and most likely everyone else as the ultimate diet, and people could do less than this and get away with it or do okay. Somebody asked me, well, if I'm doing most of the things you said, but not all, how many more years are going to add to my life if I do all? That's a question that really can't be answered, because there's so many other things that affect our health other than just the food we eat. But if you're strictly looking at food, the better you do, the more of a chance you're going to give yourself to not suffer from a disease. So what I have found is a lot of people overeat. I mean, it's quite commonly confirmed that calorie restriction is a good thing. I don't count calories, but I try not to overeat. And I know my stomach is the size of my fist, or my fist is the size of my stomach. And overeating is very easy to do and common to do. But for my research, it's never healthy to overeat on no matter what diet or type of version of that diet you're eating. So we're eating less. So I try to eat less. Currently, I eat one meal a day. Now, that is definitely not practical for most people, or most people aren't even willing to do that. So I recommend 2 meals a day. I think 2 meals a day is the perfect amount somebody should eat. If they want to snack in between, well, to me, snacking is a meal. Because the body doesn't know the difference between a snack or a meal. When you eat, your body has to process the food. So I don't recommend snacking. Now, if you do want to eat between meals, I'd recommend doing a vegetable juice, a green vegetable juice. That's what I suggest. But as for a diet, a named diet or something that's out there, there's 3 combinations of a diet that I believe is ideal. So the first one, and these are in no particular order, is called the SOS diet, meaning no salt, oil, or sugar in my diet. Now, I'm already a raw vegan. So, of course, raw food, vegan food. But SOS, no added salt, sugar, or oil. Now I'm experimenting with the only salt I have in my diet now is in fermented sauerkraut and maybe in kimchi. But I'm experimenting with learning how to make salt-free sauerkraut and kimchi. If anyone has a recipe for that, put it below in the comments. But pretty much salt, oil, and sugar-free, extracted salt, oil, and sugar. So I do eat fruit, but I'm not going to add sugar to my diet. So that's one of the 3 combination diets that I'm finding to be ideal. The other one would be, and again, I'm a strict person and I have no problem being all in, but if somebody takes a half a teaspoon of olive oil a week, that's not really the benefit or the disbenefit of oil-free. I'm talking about people that have every day some type of oil, even coconut oil. That's what I'm talking about. But if you know it's bad, why would you want to do it once a week, right? But so that's the first one, SOS. The second one would be the Hippocrates Health Institute diet. The Hippocrates Health Institute version of the raw food diet pretty much does a tremendous amount of living foods like sprouts and microgreens. I think that's excellent. They promote a low sugar, low fat version of a raw vegan diet with a lot of live foods. The sauerkrauts, kimchi, sprouts, bean sprouts, microgreen sprouts. So I think that's excellent, excellent. And but if somebody has a disease, they say cut out all the sugar, including fruit. Brian from Hippocrates Health Institute is under the impression that fructose, whether it's in fruit or out of fruit, is the same, or it's going to act the same way. And he didn't call it, I'm not quoting him where he said it's the same thing. He did say that fresh fruit is less harmful. So he's aware of that, but he thinks sugar's our enemy and it's a bad thing. He doesn't eat anything. I experimented and I find, yeah, I mean, if somebody has cancer, stay away from the sugar maybe. Get better. Do the Hippocrates diet. Now, it's interesting when I say a combination of these 3, because Hippocrates does allow salt, oil, and sugar. Well, they don't have added sugar, but they certainly allow added salt and added oil to the diet, but not much. So SOS and Hippocrates Health Institute. And the last one that I think is almost like Hippocrates Health Diet with fruit in it, but more natural. And that would be the 80-10-10 diet. And I'm going to be interviewing Doug Graham from there, who wrote that book in a couple of weeks here. But the 80-10-10 diet says 80% of your diet should come from carbohydrates, but not starches. Not grains and pasta and thin bread. That shouldn't be in there. That's a big difference between a lot of the vegetarian health gurus online that say, well, baked potato, pasta, or some grains are okay. And it wouldn't be, it's okay to get some of that from your diet. Well, the 80-10-10 diet says no. You don't need the starches. They're not good. As a matter of fact, Doug Graham has a book called Grain Damage, which is an excellent book. And I learned that a long time ago. And that's why I haven't done grains for many years. So the 80-10-10 says carbohydrates, and you're getting those carbohydrates from fruits. Now, understand, fruits are anything with a seed in them, right? So they could be sweet or non-sweet fruits. And then 10% of your diet fat, 10% of your diet protein. So that's his breakdown. And what I find, that's what Hippocrates suggests, 10% from fat. They don't say 10% protein, but pretty much it's a lower protein on the scale, not getting into those high protein diets. And I think the SOS diet doesn't get into numbers, but they just say, look, avoid the sugar, oil, and salt. But I think a combination of those three diets is excellent. Excellent. And that's what I do. And even though I'm eating one meal a day, my eating window is 2 hours. 2 hours a day to eat. And pretty much having some fruit. And I will continue to experiment with these things. And then I'm having my salad meal with pretty much it's a sprout salad. And for my little small amount of fat, I'm either having an avocado or small avocado or a few soaked nuts. That's it. And then I find myself sometimes, maybe a couple hours later, if I desire to do so, I'll have a green vegetable juice. But that's it. And loving it. Loving that. Feeling better than I've ever felt on a combination of these three types of diets. Now, I know when I speak to all the people that promote these three, they'll all see something wrong with what you're doing. They'll say, Brian will say, well, at Hippocrates, will say, well, you got to cut back on the fruit or not eat the fruit. And Doug from 80-10-10 might say, well, you don't need to have fermented vegetables. You don't need to be doing recipes. You could just, as of much, just do this. And then they both say you don't need the starches. And then the SOS people, a lot of them recommend the starches. So we'll say they recommend the starches. They'll tell me, well, you can't just do all fruit or all raw. You need to have cooked starches in your diet. So what I found, that's not true. I socially and psychologically, it's very difficult for somebody to go 100% raw vegan because of social and psychological reasons. We're trained to eat cooked food growing up, and it's good for us. Socially, most restaurants don't have raw stuff. But physically on our body, I find it to be the best way to eat. And it works great. But if you could do it. Now, there's nothing wrong if you want to have what all these diets suggest. These are the best three diets out there. Even exactly the way they say it. So the 80-10-10 that says the cooked starch is okay. If you're eating 75 to 80% raw fruits and vegetables and you eat a little cooked starch, that's a great. That's fine. I'm in no way calling that a bad diet. Hippocrates diet, if you're eating like they suggest and you're cutting your fruit down to 10%, that's great. Nothing bad about that. As long as you're meeting your needs and getting what you need. And if you're eating the 80-10-10 diet and you decide you're going to be as pure as possible and you're not going to have any fermented foods or even sprouts maybe, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm finding these three diets are the best diets out there. And I'm combining kind of all three at present. And I have a lot of SOS-free doctors that I've been interviewing. I interview Brian at Hippocrates Health Institute quite often. And Dr. Doug I've interviewed several times over the years, and I'll be interviewing him again here soon. So I just find that's the best way to do it for me. And it's very practical to do. But any form of these three diets I find to work pretty well for people in general. It's much better than what they're doing. So I recommend it. So on a day where Thanksgiving, where people are overeating, eating junk food, diet rules go out the window. And I see these three types of diets, and I think they're wonderful. There's another one called the Hallelujah Acres diet, which is pretty similar to all three of these. That's the Hallelujah Acres diet. So those are 4 diets, 4 ways to eat. Matter of fact, they got a great website, Hallelujah Acres, that have a great chart on what to replace with what and what to eat. A daily meal planner. People always ask me for a daily meal planner. Go to HallelujahAcres.com. I'll put the link below and check that out. So hopefully these tips are helping you. Another thing, another important part, and the thing I'm doing of the Hippocrates diet, and I feel is very helpful. I don't know if the 80-10 diet, 10-10 diet, and Dr. Doug agrees with it or not. I don't think he does, but I could be wrong. Is sea vegetables. I think sea vegetables are wonderfully healthy. I do dulse in my salads. I do arame. And I'm experimenting with sea moss. I think sea vegetables are a wonderful source of nutrients. So I do that as well, and that's part of the Hippocrates diet, what they recommend. So I don't know. I think the SOS free people are good on that. But now there is salt in sea vegetables, so maybe they're not. Maybe they say it's too salty, but I try to wash the salt off before I eat it. As I said, I'm experimenting with no salt sauerkraut and seeing how that turns out. But again, when I say I'm doing versions of these, if I have sauerkraut and it was fermented with salt and it's quite salty, well, that's why I'm not fully doing one particular diet. I'm leaving things open for other things. Now take it when it comes to 80-10-10 and getting most of our, because you're going to get your calories and your nutrients from either starch or fruit. If you're going to go without starch, or cooked starch, without grains, you're going to have to boost up your fruit, I would think. So I got my own fruit trees. I'd much rather have a fruit off the tree instead of some grains in a pot. So, so I grow my own fruit trees, and I know people that grow fruit that I order through the mail. You could do that as well. But yeah, so I want to give thumbs up to all these 4 types of diets people are eating and the combination I'm doing of all these 4. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how things go. I just did a blood test to find my biological age. And my biological age was, I think, like 12 years earlier than what my true age is. So that's exciting. And I'm going to continue to try to get that lower, because even though our bodies get older, our biological age can continue to get lower. So I'll continue to try and test and see. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Put your comments and questions below. Have a great world life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more videos about the raw food diet and lifestyle, and also to see more great interviews with health experts discussing these topics, and me, a 30-year raw vegan, giving my feedback and opinion. Have a blessed day, everybody, and a great raw life.